Hi guys, just joined me for a walk with my two dogs, and it's a nice sunny day. It's actually winter here in Australia, but we're at the top of Australia, way up north, and it's 32 degrees. So quite a nice day for a walk. That's Celsius, that is. So don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. So just join me for a walk, and I'll talk about a little bit of a journey that I've had with some of my investments. Probably won't interest most people, but I'll get to the point where I'm currently at, where I'm investing in KVTs, which has so much potential, but of course at the moment we're experiencing some delays, and it's really kind of a difficult phase for a lot of investors because patience is wearing thin, and my patience isn't stretched out too bad, because I think for me, KVTs have a tremendous overall story, and the company's run by very good people, and I think that kind of overwhelms any negativity that, sometimes I guess you get to feel from time to time whenever you get frustrations or delays. But for me, I'd like to just talk about a little bit of the history of how I came about. With my sort of background was I loved to invest in gold and silver as a kind of baseline portfolio, and for a little bit of alpha, I'd always enjoy trying to pick gold miners. Like I'd try to find silver miners too if I could, because I figured that could have some real amazing alpha, but they're not so easy to find, pure gold silver miners. So I kind of stuck to the gold miners, and some did really well, and others did very poorly, and really I guess it all adds to the your knowledge. But whilst I was on this sort of research that I was doing with gold miners, I often was kind of thinking of an altruistic type of way of investing, which would be to get dividends off gold miners in the form of gold, and that was spoken about like back 10 years ago. But I think just the mechanics, the ability for gold miners to do that, it just doesn't really work. So I really like the idea, but then when I was listening to a American podcast, Craig Hemke, Turd Ferguson Metals, very good podcast, recommend it. It's still going today, but yeah, there was quite an eclectic mix of investors and community there. You can learn a lot. I learned a lot while I was on there, and this idea of Kinesis with Andrew Maguire and Tom Coughlin came up, and it sounded very interesting. That they take a lot of the. You can keep gold without storage fees. You can get a yield, which is basically like getting some sort of dividends off the collected fees of the system, and it was based on trying to get gold and silver back as money again, like actual utilized money. And and it's been, and the reason why they can do that, I suppose, is that they had already set up a company called Allocated Bullion Exchange, and this company, Allocated Bullion Exchange, somehow aggregated, or wholesale gold from from different parties from all the way around the world. They had vaulting systems. They had set up all sorts of quality assurance frameworks. So this company was going, and I guess Kinesis was the next step. And so these guys said, look, if we want to get gold and silver as money, this is the ideal way to do it, to incentivize velocity in the system, to have a whole ecosystem which would benefit all sorts of different participants, not just guys that got buy and hold gold, but it would be just to hopefully benefit all sorts of traders, crypto traders, people that just want to buy and hold. They want to vertically integrate throughout the gold system. All sorts of partnerships with miners, like vaulting providers. They even have a refinery since built in Istanbul, Turkey. So they're really on the. They had a pretty clear vision back in the day, back in 2017, 2018, to develop Kinesis in all of these ways that way too much to put in a little podcast. But Kinesis, has embarked on this incredibly difficult and long journey, and I think as an initial investor, I think we're all kind of thinking that maybe it'll be a lot quicker and easier than it has been, and it's been very, very difficult. And there's no sugarcoating that. It's been painstaking. It seems to be one step forward, two steps backward, then another step forward. So it seems like we're getting nowhere. But where we're at now is at a very interesting time. I mean, a lot of people are losing faith in our community, and this is totally natural and understandable. But I think overall there's an awful lot of people that probably don't want to stick their necks out and say that they're still positive, and I'd be one of those. Like you do, stick your neck out, you get your head chopped off, as somebody once said. but that's okay. I think we're all entitled to feeling positive or negative about certain things, and Kinesis certainly can test your positivity, but for me, I think it's actually doing great. It's really sort of fallen down with some hurdles that have come up, and like changing goalposts of regulatory frameworks in the banking sector, all sorts of partnership delays and problems which are very difficult. But I think this is battle hardening the guys. They're really the management team, that they're really digging in, that they're just working through problems as they arrive. So yeah, I think kudos to them, and probably one of the main reasons why I still maintain this sort of confidence over 7 or 8 years of investing with these guys is that they're still intact as a team. But basically a lot of the main players are all there. They've all got skin in the game in terms of their own investments. That they just don't ever get discouraged. Well, I'm sure they get momentarily discouraged, but they still work. They're not getting discouraged to the point where they stop working their very long days and just keep on going. And that's that sort of perseverance tends to win out in the long run, hopefully. But I always thought initially as a mining investor and some of these mines were, well, you know, they weren't really top tier. I mean, I did invest in, you know, one that went amazingly well called Northern Star Resources, and did pretty well out of that, and a few of the others less so. But yeah, the fact, you know, the KVTs, these tokens that were initially put out by Kinesis to raise seed money in an ITO, an initial token offering, they probably raised about 200 million, somewhere around that range, and that was really the seed money for Kinesis, and they've managed to do so much with that money, and I'm sure all the revenue that they've gained in the meantime has gone through to a lot of projects, not just the 200 million. But yeah, I was part of that, and I was part of probably all of the programs to gain more KVTs. There was incentivized minting programs, which I'll probably try to explain as we go, maybe in future videos. But the minting, that there's always an expense with minting, so I either need you know, like a KVT offering, you know, to cover those costs, or alternatively, recently Kinesis minting program, we basically you know, some of the losses that we gained in what, you know, by the differences between the price differentials between the Kinesis mints gold price and the Kinesis exchange. There was, every time you recycle 100 grams or more of gold, you would incur a loss. So Kinesis, the very next week, kind of refunded that, and plus you got some extra benefits by getting velocity yield and a couple of basis points of gold. So yeah, we you know, like, I participated in all of these programs, and they've been very good. And I guess they've given us given me an idea that, you know, Kinesis has got these tools available to them to really start ratcheting up the velocity, you know, the movement of money, which is what they're all about, you know. So it might be, you know, they can bring money that they're making in other areas of their business to ratchet up velocity via things like the Kinesis minting program, which are finite, but they're really it's great the way that they're allowing us guys, the investors, the actual gold holders, that we can get a chance to beef up the volume, and we get rewarded in terms of just getting our money back, that you know, the loss that we incur the very next week, usually on a Tuesday morning, and we can go again. But of course, a lot of other crypto exchanges juice up their volume and really they're you know, they do it all by themselves and get the benefits for themselves. So Kinesis is really all about generosity in the system, the way it's set up. So yeah, there's somebody new. I'm probably losing you, you know, with the level of detail that I'm not really going into. So I guess I'm talking to people that have probably been around a little bit longer and understand maybe what I'm talking about. But this is a very sort of personal, rather educational thing, not investment advice. Yeah, it's really my first go. So yeah, look, yeah, but getting back to my original point with the miners, like the KVTs, I think have offered a much better option than my original idea about getting dividends from miners in gold. KVTs, every month they have given me quite, well, a lot more gold than silver in US dollar value, but it's been quite substantial. And combine that with the velocity yields and Minters yields and a few others, holders mainly. Yeah, look, it's been quite, it's sort of a proof of concept that has really worked for me. And although it stalled out, and I think a lot of people, they enjoyed the taste of all of these yields coming in, but now it's stopped there. There's an element of frustration, and it's very hard. It's very easy to give something, but it's very hard to take it away straight after you've given it. That's just a kind of natural human reaction. But to me, we're in a phase now which might take another year, might take another 2 or 3. Who knows? I mean, this can take a lot longer than any of us expect. But I think it's an opportunity for any new guys coming in, and just to educate yourself. Don't take it on my. That'd be the last thing I think anybody should do, is take any advice from me. I'm just sharing a journey. But this is in a kind of accumulation phase. Price is a bit stuck, but it seems to have found a bit of support here, about $750 to $850 per KVT. The yields have diminished from what they were a few months ago, but they're still better than a kick in the pants, as we say here in Australia. And so look, it's probably time. You've got time to do your research. I don't think you have to rush into anything, but this is quite a serious crypto. It's certainly not on the other side of the spectrum, which are less serious cryptos. I mean, they couldn't be any less serious, even if they tried, like Fastcoin or whatever I'm talking about, stupid meme coins. I mean, who in the right mind would get into any of that? But certainly it's up there, and the fact that it's institutional. I mean, I don't know of any other exchange tokens that give you a kind of dividend of the fee profit from their own exchange. I mean, maybe I'm wrong there. I just don't know every single crypto exchange, but so it seems like they all want to keep their money for themselves, which okay, but Kinesis gladly shares all of these fees back, and that's basically their business model, is to share, hopefully equitably with all of the participants. And I think they seem to have got the balance right to me. I mean, we haven't seen Kinesis in its full glory, with partnerships like Indonesia and maybe other governments coming in. Everything's taken way longer than anybody could have expected, but just because it's taking longer doesn't mean it's dead. And that's where I vary in opinion from a lot of guys that have been around for a few years. A lot of them are losing hope and just saying, well, we haven't heard much on these fronts for quite a while. It must have died. Well, that's just a big assumption, and maybe their assumption is as good as mine. But I really don't think that these things are dead. They run into problems, and just takes a long time for things to change. It's just, sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's bureaucratic. Sometimes all sorts of things change, like compliance laws. It's I mean, it sounds like I'm making excuses for Kinesis, but I think that's really the world that we live in, and that's I think they've communicated that quite effectively to us. But yeah, Kinesis, the KVTs are sort of like my idea of a gold miner that like, instead of giving out Australian dollars or United States dollars every half year, every month they're dishing out some bit of gold dust, and and it's been quite substantial. Yeah, I probably should share a screenshot of my yields, which are 7 years of yields, mind you, not all at once, but it's an interesting idea to get basically dividends, basically regular yields. It's about, for every $1.5 million that Kinesis generates, it gives out $1. So, if it's $6 million of fees raised in 1 month, they were giving out $4, and in some months it was even more than that per KVT. So it's way different to so many crypto coins. I mean, in a way, it uses crypto technology, but it's not anything that you're just trying to secure a capital gain. Like a lot of people invest in all sorts of things, and they need to basically sell at some stage, or maybe they can use it as collateral for a loan. I mean, that's always possible, but they're usually highly volatile in price. So for me, I had a bit of a dabble with investing in things like XRP and XDC. I think they're quite good coins, or XLM. But I had some very torrid times where it was going down in a straight line, or stepping down every week, which was pretty hard on the emotional side. But I suppose I was a bit used to that sort of thing, being in junior gold miners. But finally you sort of get to a bottom, and you go, well, it seems like a bottom. Not really sure. It can always go lower. And eventually they started going up, and you go, wow, do I take some profits, or do I leave it? Everyone says to hodl, and it's quite an emotional roller coaster. Right? I mean, there's that old saying, you never go broke when you take a profit, and I think that saying sort of got to the better of me, even though I sold way too early, those XRP and XDC, but really, I have no idea how to value these coins. I think they've got a lot of utility. It's a very exciting future that they might be involved in all sorts of things in the financial system, and I certainly don't deny that. It's just unless you stake these things, you've got no idea. You can't get a yield, and with something like KVT, you actually get a yield, so you can compare it to other assets that yield, for a little bit of a valuation. And the fact that you get gold and silver as the yield instead of fiat currency, gives it to me it gives it a great long-term viability to the whole thing, because I do think inflation and the devaluation, destruction of currencies is a very real thing. I mean, that's why I get into gold in the first place. But the fact that we'll be getting grams if Kinesis survives, hopefully thrives into the future. We'll get monthly yields of a little bit of gold every month, and this, I think this will just make it, like it easy to sleep at night in a way. Like, just you go, well, I don't have to wait till some amazing capital gain, and do I sell now, do I leave it for a run? Price becomes immaterial, and that's what I kind of think now, even at what I consider pretty low prices. Like they're down at close to their all-time lows. Besides, there's a couple of moments where it really dipped down when people sort of hit market orders, and and the bid stack was overwhelmed, and prices plummeted momentarily. But it seems like they're all-time lows now, which some people get depressed about that. Other people consider it an opportunity, and for me, I'm considering it an opportunity. I'm still scooping up some just a kind of dollar cost averaging way, which I think is kind of pretty sensible. But there's certainly to me, there's no urgency right at the moment. I think prices probably will stay quite low. Kinesis, you never know, like things can happen, like a debit card might be released soon, like partner programs might come online quickly with lots of people all excited to get a little piece of whatever's going on, and KVTs could be that. So I mean, we really don't know. I haven't got a crystal ball. I'm not going to get into price, but for me, I want to say, I mean, honestly, if price went up, it would make me feel very, very good, because let's face it, we're all human and we all like the prices of our assets to go up. But for me, these things are just not to be sold anyway. So it's like a house you live in that you're never going to sell. Well, does it really matter what price it is? Yeah. So, and probably to me, it's one of the only cryptos that you can do that without without staking. You just leave it in your account, and you get these yields every month. And if those yields ever become reliable, that's probably all I'll ever need as an investment. I'll be able to really not have to worry about money, in terms of trading, making big, bold decisions, whether to buy, sell, whatever. Like I just make too many mistakes when I do that, when I try to pick the market. I can't. And if anybody is out there that, suffer similar psychological barriers to trading that I do, maybe, you could have a look at it as just to do all your research, all your due diligence, everything you have to. But yeah, you got time. The Kinesis has an awful lot of materials there, videos, and certainly in a different style to the one I'm giving you. But look, I mean, it's one of a million cryptos. Is it better than the others? I certainly think it's better than 99.9% of them. And but look, price, people always crow about price, won't they? So whatever's the highest price will always be seen as validation for investors. And so like that seems to work in this crazy world. If you've made some big price gains, look, yeah, my hat's off to you, because honestly, if I start thinking something is overvalued, I tend to sell. But if I'm getting good yields on something, and the price is supported by yields, I really that will kind of diminish or just completely stop my my desire to sell, because that means I can ride out price volatility and fluctuations. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I don't know if I made my point, but since my first video, and sound quality is probably terrible, and I haven't really set myself up, but we'll see how we go from here anyway. Anyway, just a reminder again, not financial advice. Okay, see you, mate.